All right, once you have signed in to Scratch, you will get to this screen. You can see that I've signed in here as my name. And what you'll do to begin is go ahead and click on Create. Once you click Create, what I'm going to do right now is just give you a little walking tour of what you're seeing. Importantly, you're going to see here, this is the stage area. And on the stage, you always begin with the Scratch cat, but you can get rid of him, and that's easily done. And any character using the little scissors here, you click that, and then you would click on him to get rid of him. I'm not going to do that right now, just so that I can get through this a little bit quicker and just walk you around and give you a tour. So that's the stage area. Beneath the stage, you see that we have some options here for backdrops, meaning that we can change the scenes. We can do lots of things here. We can choose a backdrop from our library. We can draw and create our own. We can upload something that we might have on our hard drive, and we can take photos and use those. So lots of options for a creative backdrop. The next important thing you need to know about is the sprites or the characters. These are, in coding language, the objects that you are going to use to build. Your code will be used to make these function. When you create a sprite, you have basically the same options. You can either get sprites that are available in the Scratch library, and there's lots of options. You can also create and paint your own. I'll show you that in just a moment. Upload and take a picture. So again, lots of important tools here for you to use for creativity. Another important thing you need to know about the stage is that it is set on an X and a Y axis. And this is going to come into play later when we want to use our go-to building block to set a character or a sprite into a correct location. And so just keep note of that. Anytime we move the sprite around, you can see that he is moving around. This is a really important concept for students also to be able to understand. Okay, next, importantly, you need to understand that this area is the building blocks or the code area. So scripts, aka code, is what you use to get your object or your sprite to do things. There's lots of different options. You can scroll down here, and there's even more options within the different categories. Looks, sound, you can even create your own code programs. And importantly, what you're going to need to know is that eventually, as you go through and learn code, there's certain terminology that is represented in Scratch in different ways than you might see in other programming. For example, events are possibly considered conditions. Controls, here we see our repeat, so that would be our looping. And then we have other options like sensing, operators. This is all of our math tools. And again, there are more blocks that you can create. Okay, the next set of blocks and features you can do are costumes. This is how we might change a sprite. For example, if we wanted to color in our sprite different color, we'll get the paint block, and you can see I can change his coloring. I can undo anything easily as well. So again, there's lots of ways to be creative within Scratch. All right, let me go now to sounds. So the other cool function, and students really love this, is that you can either add your own sounds using the record, or you can upload sounds that you have, or sounds that come with the sprites. So some of the different sprites have sounds attached to them. Okay, let's go back to the scripts. And let me just show you how you would actually get a sprite to work. I'm just going to give it an event right now. I'm going to say when the green flag is clicked, here's the green flag. I want my little cat to move. I'm going to change him to move, let's say, 25 steps. All right, so here we go. Let's push the green flag and see what happens. There he goes. He moved. So again, this is your building block. If this is not what you wanted, you can just easily throw it away by swiping it off. All right, a couple other features that you need to be aware of. Scratch actually automatically saves, but sometimes if you need to exit before it says up here that it's been saved, you can click the Save Now button. And also importantly, on this side, you need to give it a name. I'm just going to give it the name TestCat, and then I'm going to click Save Now. Oops, doesn't look like my name went there. TestCat. There we go. Saved. Okay, another way to save is just basically like you do everywhere else, File, Save Now. Okay, so that's really important. Secondly, if you are working with students and you want to be able to collect their work and share it and see it later, they're going to need to click the Share button. All right, and so once they do that, they'll be able to give instructions. For example, in my case, use the green flag to get started. And they might have really complicated instructions here based on what it is that they're creating. And then they could also put who it's by if they wanted to. And then they could put it into a studio. You could see here I've got a number of different studios. So you can set up your own studios for students to share their work in. Okay, then I'm going to share this one last piece of information with you. Under your name, this is basically your account. You can change any information you have on your profile, and importantly, in your account settings, and importantly, My Stuff. This is where you will be able to access all the things that you have built before. You can go in and edit them. You can share them to other studios. You see here? Again, that's another option. If you click the C inside, you go back to the coding. You can see there. And then on this side, you can see the studios that you have or that you belong to. And here's where you would create a new studio. And if you did that, you would give it a name. And importantly, you would invite curators, that is, your students or those who are allowed to share their projects in your studio. Okay, so those are just some quick tips and features walking around Scratch.